Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and current events from around the world. I'm your host, Walter, and I'm glad you're joining us today. We're starting off with a story that's been making headlines in recent days, and it's all about the escalating tensions between Iran, the U.S., and Israel. According to reports, Iran has shut out nuclear monitors from the International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, in a move that's being seen as a strategic play to maintain ambiguity over its nuclear program. Now, this development comes after a 12-day war between Israel and Iran, which ended with a ceasefire brokered by the U.S. But despite the temporary truce, tensions remain high, and the situation is complex. Iran's government has denied any intention of building a nuclear weapon, but the country's actions have raised concerns among its neighbors and the international community. The IAEA had been monitoring Iran's nuclear program under the terms of the non-proliferation treaty, but with the suspension of cooperation, it's unclear what will happen next. Some experts believe that Iran may be trying to use strategic ambiguity to its advantage by creating uncertainty over the whereabouts of its highly enriched uranium. This tactic is not new, of course. During the Cold War, strategic ambiguity was a key element of nuclear brinkmanship between the U.S. and the Soviet Union. But in today's world, the stakes are just as high, if not higher. We'll be keeping a close eye on this developing story, and we'll bring you updates as more information becomes available. In the meantime, it's worth noting that the situation is fluid, and there are many different perspectives at play. We'll strive to provide balanced coverage without taking sides or promoting any particular agenda. That's all for now. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into the middle segment of our show today, where we explore a fascinating and complex story that's been making headlines. Our topic for this segment is the recent controversy surrounding Zayn Mamdani, also known as Mr. Cardamom, an African-born Muslim who has been at the center of a heated debate about citizenship and identity. To give our listeners some context, Mamdani, a U.S. citizen, has been facing criticism from some quarters for his past comments and actions. Some have accused him of making anti-Semitic remarks, while others have questioned his commitment to American values. However, it's essential to note that these allegations have been largely debunked, and many have come to Mamdani's defense, arguing that he is being unfairly targeted. Now, the story takes an interesting turn when we look at the reaction from some prominent Democrats. While some have spoken out in support of Mamdani, others have been more muted in their response. This has led some to question whether the party is doing enough to stand up against what many see as a blatant attack on a Muslim American's citizenship and identity. On the other hand, we have the Trump administration, which has been rolling out an ambitious new denaturalization campaign aimed at bypassing due process protections. This move has raised concerns among many, who argue that it's a thinly veiled attempt to strip certain individuals of their citizenship based on their politics or background. As we explore this story, it's crucial to acknowledge the complexities and nuances involved. We must consider the historical context of birtherism and how it has evolved over time. The fact that some are now using similar tactics to question Mamdani's citizenship is a cause for concern. It's also worth noting that this controversy has sparked a broader conversation about what it means to be American. Is it solely based on birthplace, or does it encompass a set of values and principles? These are questions that we must grapple with as a society, and it's essential to approach them with empathy and understanding. As we continue to follow this story, we'll be keeping a close eye on how it develops and what implications it may have for our country. We'll also be examining the responses from both parties and exploring ways in which we can promote a more inclusive and equitable society. That's all for this segment of Concrete Block. We've tried to present a balanced view of the controversy surrounding Zayn Mamdani, and we hope that our listeners will continue to engage with us on this critical issue. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're wrapping up today's show with a rundown of the latest news from Russia. It's been an eventful day, with several stories making headlines. First off, a Russian Su-34 aircraft crashed near the Ukraine border, with reports suggesting that Moscow may have lost multiple planes. The incident is still under investigation, and we'll be keeping a close eye on any developments. In other news, Russia has announced plans to disconnect foreigners who haven't submitted biometric data from mobile internet services. The move aims to prevent fraudulent activity and the use of unregistered SIM cards. Foreigners will need to register with the Unified Biometric System and provide additional identification documents to maintain their phone service. Meanwhile, Russia's top ferroalloy producer has announced plans to cut its work week amid a metallurgy crisis. The company cites economic challenges and a decline in demand for its products. This comes as Russian manufacturing activity sees its sharpest decline since the early months of the Ukraine invasion. We're also seeing tensions rise between Russia and Azerbaijan, following the deaths of two Azeri men in Russian police custody. An autopsy has revealed that the brothers died from beatings, prompting a murder probe and straining relations between the two countries. Additionally, Lavrov has warned the West against backing a color revolution in Serbia, as protests heat up in the region. And in a separate story, a middle school student in Nizhny Novgorod stabbed several classmates, with reports suggesting that the teenager had been bullied by his victims. Finally, Russian internet providers are working to speed up YouTube loading speeds, after users experienced sharp declines in recent weeks. And Ukraine has accused Russia of being behind a massive hacking attack that led to large-scale failures in Ukrainian mobile operator Kyivstar's services. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay informed.